Cool. How y'all doing? Everybody good? Sweet. I was reading this news story from Australia where this woman has finally been charged in connection with the death of 3 people. She's been charged for murder of 3 people who died after they ate lunch at a lunch party she threw. And when they arrested her, she was like, how am I supposed to know what's poison and what's not poison? You know what I mean? Like, it could be anything. Why couldn't the meal be so good that they died? Did anybody think of that? And the more that I read about the story, it was baffling. So it turns out just about everybody at the lunch party were her ex-husband's relatives. So yeah, I think you might have done it. Wow, that's crazy. I know some of y'all out here love staying friends with your exes and stuff, but if I ever have an ex-wife, and one day, randomly in July, she's like, how about you and your whole family come and eat a meal I cook while I watch. I'm gonna have to decline all the poisoning. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I don't care. I don't care what type of apple flavors you make it. You're not killing me, okay? You know. And the only reason the husband's still alive is at the last minute he couldn't make it. So he was also gonna be there, and then he was like, sorry, got held up at work. Then he lived. That feels crazy, you know. They say revenge is a dish best served beef Wellington. And I loved it though, because it was such a weird story. And then imagine your alibi being like, y'all know I can't cook. Like, what is your plan here, man? You all ever have that person in your life that's like the dumbest person you know? Like, just top to bottom, you're like, how are you still alive? You know what I mean? You just won't even understand how they function. You know, it's like, you made it this far, and yesterday couldn't have been easier than today. How do you keep racking up days consecutively? I know a dude that, I won't even call him a friend. I know a dude that is the most unsuccessful drug dealer I've ever met in my life. This is absolutely astounding. How do you fail at selling drugs to people who very much want drugs? Like, they would like drugs very much until they meet you. That is crazy. What kind of bad vibes are you putting out that someone on crack is like, you know what? I'll wait. That's insanity. How'd you take the urgency out of drugs? It's truly wild. I've never seen anything like it. He honestly cleaning up the streets. Everybody he tries to sell to don't want it. I'm like, you making the neighborhood safer by the day. You really need to work for the DARE program or the police. Somebody where you can make money by being bad at what you do. It's astounding. I told him, I was like, you need to do something else with your life. This is clearly not your calling, all right? You know, because when you're good at selling drugs, if you're good enough, they'll make movies about you. They'll make TV shows about you. His movie would be 8 minutes. It would be him haggling for the price of meth with somebody and then them being like, you know what? Keep it. And then just walking away. I told him, I was like, you need to do something else. And he got all defensive. You know, he was like, you putting it all on me. It's not all me, you know? This dude actually said to me, he's like, can I borrow a couple dollars till I get paid? I'm like, there's no payroll. Like, you sell drugs and you'll be paid. I'm not giving you money, because then you'll literally have to pay me back with drug money. That's insane. Now I'm part of the operation. I don't want to have anything to do with this. He's always so defensive, like, you putting it all on me. It's not all me, okay? It's this economy. I'm like, no, you don't get to say that. No one smoking crack is saving up for a house. Devastating. I also had, okay. Y'all know what the ick is, right? Okay, in case you don't know what the ick is, in case you don't have TikTok. The ick is when you are infatuated with someone. You really like them, and then they do something. It's usually something innocuous, something that's very particular. And then it just turns you off. You lose that infatuation, and hence the ick. You don't want to be with them anymore. Like if you went on a date with someone, and then on the date, they were eating, and they were like slurping their soup extra hard, and now you don't want to be with a whole person because they use their mouth. You know what I mean? Like everyone always talks about what their ick is, you know? Or what they don't like, what gave them the ick. But nobody ever talks about being the ick. Have you noticed that? It's like it's always about what bothers me. It's never people just admitting that they did something. Like I'll be vulnerable for a second. I've been the ick before. And there's nothing like watching yourself be the ick in the woman's face. It's the saddest, it's genuinely horrible, because it's like, once again, I'm not a bad person. I'm not doing anything crazy or gross. I'm just, I did whatever I did, and now we both like, oh, yeah. I'll give you some examples. I used to live in Chicago, right? And when I lived there, I was, my life was not great. I don't know, I was very broke. I remember I had gone on this date, and the date was fantastic. We had a great time. She even came back to my place. We're sitting on my bed. She's clearly going to spend the night. It's definitely about to happen. But I had work in the morning, so I just wanted to make sure that I had set my alarm for work and that I plugged my phone in so it didn't die, right? But the way that my bed was, the plug for the outlet was slightly behind the bed, okay? So now I'm trying to reach and plug it in, but I'm also trying to maintain this eye contact, this vibe that we have going. So now I'm trying to plug it in, but I'm not looking and I can't find it, right? And so I'm just watching her slowly get more disappointed as I'm trying to plug this in, and I can't, and I'm talking my game too. I'm like, I'm tearing up, girl. One second, you about to get it. At one point, I think I even said, "Come on!" And it just killed the vibe. It really did, because you just looking at me, and she didn't say it, but you could see on her face, it's like, you're not too good at plugging stuff into sockets. That's not good foreshadowing, you know what I mean? I think let's just watch a movie or something. And I'm not gonna lie, it took me a while to get my confidence back up, you know? It took me a while to get my life together. And once I did, once I was more put together and I moved my bed, I put myself back out there. And so I went on a first date with this young lady, and we were gonna go to dinner and a movie. And then on the way to dinner, I pushed a pull door, all right? And like, and there's no quicker way to look like you have an iron deficiency in front of a woman than to push a pull door. Because I had overcommitted, because I'm trying to be a gentleman, right? I'm trying to open the door for her, let her walk in first and everything. So I gave a little push. That we were talking, I gave a little push. I was like, maybe it just needs a little extra pressure. So I leaned into it a little bit more, and when it wouldn't budge, I was like, maybe I need two hands. And so now so now I'm square with the wall, right? And I'm pushing. And then I had pushed so hard that I started slipping. So I was sliding down as I was pushing, and right when my forehead hit the wall, like hit the door, I saw that in little print it said pull. But who puts pull in fine print? That's crazy. And so I opened the door, and she walked in. She was sweet. She tried to ignore it and everything. But then went to the movie and I pulled a push. And like this one, I didn't pull as long as I had pushed the other one, so it wasn't as embarrassing. But it's just like I really tugged hard. Like I didn't put my foot up on or anything, but I was just like, I tugged hard. Your first date is supposed to be you getting to know a person. You know what I mean? And so now I could tell I gave her the ick because we were having a good time outside of those two situations. But then she was like, in her mind, I think maybe she was like, he's sweet, but he don't understand doors. And it's like, how do you? And it was embarrassing, but it's like, and I don't know if I should bring it up and address it or if I should just let it go or something. But she saw it both times, like she was waiting to get in, like. So it's not like something she could just ignore. So now, and I wanted to be like, look, I understand. I got a door in my room, like that's. But then she was looking at me after like when we went in the movie, like the rest of the day, she was looking at me like I was slow. And then I was like, I got a door in my room, which does make me sound slow. Like just, I got a door in my room. Like that sounds crazy because it's like, am I talking about a closet or am I talking about the door to my room? And it was devastating. And I get it. Like, I understand from her perspective, because she doesn't want to be out here dating somebody that she gotta look out for. Like, I get close to a door and she gotta be like, it's an innie. Like, so I get it. The worst one, absolute worst one was months later. Okay, so I used to work at a grocery store, right? And I was working one day and I slipped on some Rogue juice. And so it was a spill in the aisle. I slipped on juice and I fell on my hip. And I fell like that. You know when somebody take like an old fall, like like that fall where you like grandpa got one left. Like it was like that level fall because I fell on pure hip. It was like hip bone, right? And so I was all bruised up and hurting and everything, and I was like limping for some of the day. And then as I was healing up, because I didn't have health insurance, so when you don't have health insurance, you like, I think I just live like this now. You know what I mean? Like because by the next day I was healing up, but my hip was clicking, right? And so it would click whenever I would walk, and when I would sit down, that was 3 clicks right there. And so it was clicking nonstop. And I didn't have health insurance, so I was like, I think I'll just click now. I think that's just a part of who I am as a person. And so fast forward a couple days later, I'm still hurt, I'm still clicking and everything, but I've been seeing someone. And this was going to be the first time that we hooked up, and so we're about to have sex, and we start having sex, and I'd gotten so used to the clicks that I wasn't really thinking about them anymore, right? And I had been healing up, so I was like, maybe I don't even click like that. But then we started, and I didn't realize I click on the in and the out. Like I'm clicking nonstop, and it's loud too. It's so loud because I didn't put on any music, so there's no Miguel, there's no R&B to hide behind. It's just the clicks is all you can hear in the room. And I left my bathroom door open, so now I'm getting click echo from because it'll click in the room and click in the bathroom, and there's a click back, right? And I'm trying to put in work, so I'm sounding like a horse on cobble. Like I'm like truly nonstop because I'm really I'm trying to make a good impression. This is our first time hooking up, so I'm like nonstop. And so then she trying to act like she don't hear. She trying to be polite and everything. She's like, ooh, okay, but she can clearly hear it, And then I'm getting self-conscious, so now I start clicking off rhythm, you know what I mean? It's like, which is just making it worse because it's like it's already bad that you clicking, but if you clicking on the 1 and the 3, everybody knows that this is bad. Now, you know what I mean? And so then I was like, she was like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm good. How you doing? How's it for you? And she was like, we should talk. And I was like, all right, that's never good. And then And then we sat down. She's like, "Are you like okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'm fine. I just fell. It was some rogue juice in the aisle, and I fell." And then she was like, "Well, how about we try me on top?" And so we did. And then that did not help at all because now it was just it was louder clicks because it was more pressure, right? So now it was like it felt like it was her clicks. You know what I mean? Like now she sounded like a full Paul Revere, right? Like because she was riding me, but she's also like non-stop, and it was devastating. It was so bad, and that's the only person that's ever ghosted me where I was like, I understand. I get it. I think I even texted her afterwards, like, hey, I understand. Like a month after she stopped hearing my text message, I just texted her one last time, like, I understand. Like. It was horrible. I don't know if y'all saw the news, but the orcas are at it again. Orcas, if you haven't seen it, the orcas, killer whales, are out here sinking yachts. They just ramming the yachts until they sink and everything. And who would have thought that the orcas would be the ones to step up? Yeah, I mean, like, rich people just be rich in our faces all the time on land, and then they went into the water, and the orcas were like, not my hood, dog. Like, this is crazy. I wish orcas had thumbs so bad, just because I would just want them to throw up gang signs with their fins. All day. The most recent one was this yacht that was going through the Strait of Gibraltar, and these orcas attacked it for 45 minutes, which must be terrifying because, like, I would hate to get killed by an orca because it's like their echolocation, the noises that they make are so close to dolphins. Like, just imagine you being murdered in the water and all you hear is like, ah! Gang, gang. This is terrible. Tearing you up. It's horrific, you know? But they rammed the boat for 45 minutes, and then finally it started to sink. Now, I was reading more about the story. It turns out there was no rich guy on that yacht. That yacht was just like in transit. So then when it capsized, the crew was who was in danger. But the orcas didn't attack any of the crew. Crew made it out safe, which does make me think even more that this is a money thing. Like, this is, it's gotta be. You had plenty of people right there to chop up and dice on and nibble up, and you didn't. And I'd like to think that, like, an orca nibbled maybe one of them and was like, oh, that tastes like work. I need supple. That workman meat too tough. You know what I mean? But y'all have been amazing. Thank you so much.
Make some noise for Josh Jasu!
Wow, thank you so much for having me. This is so cool. I am happy to spend the 4th of July with you. Maybe you're not aware of some of our customs on the 4th of July. One of them that sticks out is a hot dog eating contest. And I've been traveling the world, and a lot of people think that they know what a hot dog is. They even think that they have their own version of a hot dog. And as I've traveled the world, I can honestly say that no, you don't. Because You all here, I'm not going to pronounce it correctly, but you have bratwurst. That's not hot dog at all. That's good. You have to understand, to make a hot dog, like bratwurst is beef or veal. It's a meat with herbs and spices in it, cooked well. A hot dog, especially in America, a hot dog is something that to make you first have to find. And when I say find, I mean like putting together a proper hot dog in its casing and to serve is a lot like a witch's spell. You have to find meat that's first on the floor. It's very important this meat is on the floor. If the meat is not on the floor, you might not be making a hot dog. You have to find this meat that's on the floor. You have to couple it all together. You have to push it through this machine. And bratwurst, once again, beef, veal, you can only hold together a proper hot dog with hate and with hate and like a touch, like a dash, just a little bit of poverty, right? So you have some hate, you have, you can get a side of anger in there too. And then you put it together into a hot dog, you wrap it up nicely so it looks like it might be edible. Because I don't know if you've had a hot dog. In order to prepare a hot dog, it's not like preparing a bratwurst. You have to boil a hot dog. And in order to boil the hot dog, it means you do have to ruin some water. You put the hot dog in the water, you boil it up, that cooks the hot dog. Cooks is a strong word. What are you cooking? It's demon meat. But you boil the hot dog up, so then you pull it out, that's cooked. You then put it in a bun to cover up that you're eating a hot dog. The water you have to dispose of like toxic waste. A lot of people will pour this down the sink. Don't do that. Don't get that mixed in with the regular. When I was little, I had a friend who his mom had a flower garden, and he'd make hot dogs after school, and then he'd pour the water in the hot dog garden, and all of the flowers died. Because that is runoff poison water. But yeah, you boil a hot dog, and then you eat it, and when you eat it, you're supposed to close your eyes and pretend you're chewing something else. Because this is going to be nasty. You can try to dress it up with mustard, ketchup, with mayo relish, with whatever manner of things people do. Some people will act really, really holier than thou about how they prepare their hot dog, as if a hot dog is not a mystery of meat mushed together. I say all that because on the 4th of July, there is a hot dog eating contest that takes place, and the winner this year, once again, is a man named Joey Chestnut. And this year, he ate 70 hot dogs in 10 minutes, which is the correct response. You know how I said that when you felt physically ill? That's how you're supposed to feel on the 4th of July after eating as many hot dogs as possible. I believe the record is 76 hot dogs. And I remember one time my buddy entered a hot dog eating contest, and he was super excited about it. And he had watched Kobayashi, he had watched Joey Chestnut, and he thought he could do it too. He was like, if they can do it, I can do it. Let's give it a try, right? And so he entered the hot dog eating contest, and it wasn't like the official Nathan's hot dog. It was just like a local one that was happening on 4th of July. And he entered the contest, sat down with the other contestants, and then over the course of 10 minutes, my friend ate 2. This man ate 2 hot dogs in 10 minutes. We were watching it like, when is he gonna kick into gear? Like, when is it? There are other people that are literally like swallowing hot dogs like, as fast as possible. There was one dude that was this was incredible. He was screaming hot dogs down, right? He was like, oh! Meanwhile, our buddy, hot dogs in 10 minutes. We went from cheering to booing. We started out supportive. Initially, we were like, yeah, get him, you can do it. And then, when it was clear he couldn't, we were like, stop, you wasting a hot dog. When he got done, we asked him, hey, what happened? We drove you here. You the one wanted to go way out the way to enter this contest to waste everybody's time. 2 hot dogs in 10 minutes is not a contest, that's a meal. What's wrong with you? And he was like, I panicked. What are you panicking about? He's like, I saw everybody else do it, and they were so fast. I was like, how are they not choking? And then I remembered, I might choke. So then I started chewing extra. I was scared to choke. I was like, if you had at least choked, then 2 hot dogs in 10 minutes would be more reasonable. You got people over here fighting to get hot dogs now. He over here chewing responsibly. I do my best when I go anywhere to be as good of a guest as I can. You know, it means a lot to me to have me over here and for me to be your guest for a little while. I've been looking forward to this trip for a long time, and I'm always a little tense when I'm a guest, though. You know, even if it's just visiting a friend's house, you want to be a good guest. You don't want to leave and then have them be like, oh, never again. You know, like I get nervous to be seen as a bad guest. I don't want anything to go wrong. Like I've had to stay over, you know, for a couple nights at friends' houses, and they're like, "Oh, make yourself at home. What's mine is yours." I feel like that's a trap. because you really make yourself at home and then you find out how much they mean it later. It's like, I'd rather just act like I shouldn't be in here at all. Quiet as a mouse, I'll just act like I broke in and just try to affect as little as possible in the home. And they'll be like, what? He's such a good guest. We didn't even know he was here. One time I got so stressed out about being a guest at my friend's house while they were out of town that I just never went. And they were like, Josh, our apartment looks amazing. Did you do all this cleaning before you left? I was like, yep, you know it. Wanted to leave it better than I found it, Because even being the guest at a party, that's like a short-term guest. When you're just there for the party, you're just there for, a few hours, maybe half the day if it goes long. And I'm terrified to be a bad guest there. I just don't want to be remembered in a bad light. And there was this one time where I went to a friend's party, and I'm not great at parties to begin with. I'm very much in the corner, or if I know one person at the party, that will be the person that I'm talking to the entire party. Like it will be a burden on them. Sometimes I see a friend that I know at a party and no one else, and I'm like, ooh, you about to have a bad time at this party. I hate that for you. I'm very sorry. But it's either talk to you or talk to a stranger, and come on. And so, I was at this party, and my friend who actually invited me to the party was late. We were supposed to meet up together, and I misunderstood the text message. I thought they were already in there. So I knock on the door, I meet the host, I tell him, oh, I'm friends with, and then he lets me in, which is a huge mistake. Because now I'm just sort of standing awkwardly while other people have a great time. And so I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? This is the fail safe. Every time you need a break from social interaction, or you just need to get your bearings together because you're in a public place and you're sort of freaking out, you go to the bathroom. The bathroom is the safe haven, right? And so I walk to the bathroom, I close the door behind me, and it's a little dim in the bathroom, but I use the bathroom, right? Other reason to go. And as I'm stepping away from the toilet, I hear this little crunch, like under my feet, and I look at it, and it's all of this glass under my feet, and it looks like the actual light bulb either popped or broke or something, and then now I've stepped in it. And as I really start to look around the bathroom, I realized that it is an absolute disaster in there. It is horrifically bad. So the bathroom mirror is smashed. I didn't notice it at first when I walked in, and the glass is in the sink, and there's a little bit of blood in the sink, right? And so I'm standing there, and I look over at the tub, and the shower curtain is pulled back, and there's a fur coat in the tub. And I'm like, all these things are too much for one thing. You know what I mean? Like this would be a shutting the bathroom down for a short period of time at the party if just one of them happened, and all of them are happening right now. And so I'm like, I don't know what to do. I flush. That's as much as I can clean up right now. And then I'm a bit panicked, so I get ready to just get out of the bathroom, because if I can get out scot-free, if no one sees me come out of the bathroom, someone else can address this thing, because I don't know anyone here. My only friend is late, and the host has just seen me once. So I get ready to, I don't even, admittedly, this is gross, sorry, but I wasn't even gonna wash my hands, because I was like, there's a whole bunch of blood in there anyway. They'd be dirtier than when they were unwashed. And so I get ready to pull on the doorknob, and I hear a knock. And I can't open the door. There's no way I could open the door and be like, all yours. It's crazy in there. And so I hear the knock, and I think to myself, oh no. There's no way. First of all, if you need to go to the bathroom, the last thing you want is for someone to open the door and be like, all right, before you get in there. I just want you to know none of this is my fault, okay? Before you walk in with judgment, just know anything can happen to anybody at any point. Like, if you had been a little quicker with your feet, this would have been you, okay? I don't know what to do as I'm just standing there. And I'm admittedly standing there for like way too long. Like, and I hear a knock again. And I'm like, all right, I gotta do something. I gotta buy myself some time. And so I just say, 1 second. That's bought me 1 second. I have to use it wisely. And in my head, I'm thinking like, okay, I could try to clean up. I'm over here in my head freaking out because this is my worst nightmare. I'm gonna look like a terrible guest. I'm at a party where I don't know anybody, and I'm gonna look like I destroyed this bathroom. And so I'm Googling all types of stuff. I'm over here Googling, does glass flush? Like, does glass flush? How fast can you get blood out of the sink? If you were to look at my Google search history on this night, it would look like I definitely killed someone. Or at least a small animal. Because I was also Googling, like, does fur disintegrate? Like, and so, I just spent another minute and a half sweating and freaking out. And then I hear a knock, but this knock is like thicker. It's just like strong. It's clearly a different knock. It's clearly a different person. And that person is like, hey, come on, people waiting. I'm like, people? People are waiting. Okay, all right. People implies more than one person, which does imply, plural, and plural could just be two. It could just be the initial guy that knocked and is very patient, or maybe left, who knows? Maybe he had to use the bathroom so bad that he left the party completely, but this person is adamant, hey, I gotta get in there, right? And he said, people are waiting. And so in my head, I'm like, okay, 2 people are waiting. And then he yells out, you got a line out here. What's happening in there? And I looked down at my phone, and I had been in the bathroom for like 15 minutes. Like I had let this go way too far. And so I froze. I didn't know what to do at all. It's like your absolute worst nightmare as a person that's like gets weird in like social interactions, to actually have this weird thing happen to you is like, I think maybe this is hell. I think maybe I've died. And so I'm pacing back and forth in the bathroom, which is only breaking more light bulb glass. And I finally look out of the little window, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to leave. Like I'm gonna have to jump out of the window. And in my like panic, I forgot that we were on the first floor. So it wasn't like a big jump or anything, but I did have to climb out of a window that wasn't man-sized. Luckily, neither am I. I was squeezing my hips at like an angle, like I put my hips like diagonal to the edges of the window to get as much space as possible, and I wiggled out. I fell out of the window, and I tried as much as I could to like pull the window back up from outside so that people wouldn't be like, oh, whoever it was went out the window. And then I was like, what do I do though? What if someone saw me go in, remembers me perfectly even though they don't know me, and could point me out, you know, because I wear the same thing every day. And so I'm like, the only option I have is to go back in. Is to go back in and join the line for the bathroom. And so I walk around the house and I'm thinking to myself, okay, all I gotta do is watch out for the host. His host was greeting me when I first walked in. As long as the host has like got to that point in the party where they're not greeting everybody and they're not answering the door every time, I should be good. And so I wait, some other people were arriving and they knock on the door. Someone else opens the door. I'm like, this is my chance. I sneak in behind those two other people and I immediately walk to the line for the bathroom. And luckily, my buddy who was late was in the back of the line, and he's like, can you just believe this? No, I do my best to be like a good house guest, you know, and especially when I travel, because when I travel, I have to do it as an American. I have to travel as an American now. You know? And it's like, I'm traveling more than I ever have in my life, experiencing new places for the first time. But one thing that I will say is, okay, there used to be a time where you would travel when you were from the U.S. You would go to other places and you would say that you were from the U.S. and people, there was a shine to it. There genuinely was like this like magnificent shine around you and your passport. People had questions for you. You know, you would say you were from the U.S. and they'd be like, oh, blue jeans. Wow. And then over time, the shine started to wear off a little bit, you know, like the way that we were perceived on the world stage started to change, and you would tell people that you were from the U.S. and they'd be like, oh yes, yeah, Beyonce. And now, you travel the world, and look, people ask me. I don't go around telling everyone my business all the time. People ask me, hell, where are you from? And I go, oh, it's... you know, it's American. And they're like, what? What? I didn't hear... Oh, you know, it's United States. What? I'm American. I'm from the U.S. From America. And I've traveled in these past 2 weeks to Paris, Dublin, Brussels, Antwerp, now here. And there is a similarity. This happened more in Brussels and Antwerp than anywhere else, but it has also happened here where people will ask me where I'm visiting from, and then I will tell them. And there's a look and a noise you make that's genuinely offensive. Like it is. Once again, you asked me. I didn't say anything. I walk into the shop. Y'all are the ones, asking questions and stuff. And then I say that I'm from the U.S. I'm visiting from America. And then you go, oh. You get the face or you get the noise. You don't get both. Oh. I grew up in Louisiana, all right? And when I was, sure. And when I was in Louisiana, I have friends who live in all different parts of the state. And one of my friends, he actually lives he's in a rural area. He's in some swamp area near the bayou and everything. There's a bunch of things floating in the water, a bunch of predators out there. He does his hunting. He comes back home. That's mainly how he sustains himself and everything. And there was one time he was having a barbecue. A bunch of friends came over, and one of his buddies, his buddy Spence, came over and was having a cigarette off by himself. He walked off away from the barbecue to have his cigarette, and then sometime later, he comes back over, and in the back door, the way that a lot of the houses are built in Louisiana is you have your door and you have your screen door, and the screen door can keep out the bugs while also letting air flow into the home and everything. And so he pops his head near the screen door, and his head only, and Spence leans in and he says, "Hey, can you call an ambulance?" And our friend is like, "What? Why?" If anyone ever asks you to call an ambulance, just do it right away. I'm sure that they have a good reason. I'm sure they're not just getting you to do it for fun because they want to hear the siren. I think that they probably need some help. And so he's like, if you could just call him, that'd be great. Can you please just call him? And he's being very calm. And so our friend walks up and pokes his head out of the screen door, and he sees that Spence, though calm, is standing there, and there is a baby alligator around his foot. And that's the way you look at me when I tell you that I'm from the U.S. Now, coming here at a time where tourism in the U.S. is way down, yeah, people aren't coming to visit as often. It's like if people used to love to come visit all the time, and then something happened. It'd be like if you went over to your friend's house all the time growing up, and then one day you stopped going, and your friend was like, "Why? Why wouldn't you just come over like you used to? Come hang out." And you're like, "Oh, well, last time I was there, your dad threw a plate at my head, so I think I'm good coming over for a while." And so tourism is down in the U.S. People are choosing other places to go, and one of the main places that they're choosing to come is to Europe. Is all these places, some people will come to Berlin. A lot of it is happening in Spain with Barcelona and Madrid, in Italy, in Paris as well. And it's getting to the point where there's so much tourism. People are actually calling it like over tourism. You know, and this is happening at the same time as like massive heat waves, like wild heat waves, some of which we've never seen before. It's never been as hot as it is now. It's very hot. Luckily, not here today. But this week you had, one of your hottest days on record. I can't even imagine what that must have been like, because you all are like fit people. Like you get on bikes to go you have to understand, my frame of reference is the US. So the fact that you're even walking next to a bike is leaps and bounds. I can't imagine trying to ride a bike in that heat, or running. Some of you run. And so that's wild that this level of like over tourism is happening at the same time as this heat wave. And there are people in Paris, there are people in Spain and Italy that have had enough. They're losing it over this. They're protesting the tourists. They're over here being like, stop it. Stop coming here right now. Talk amongst yourselves and spread it out throughout the year or something. But this is too much. You have places like, I could be wrong about these numbers, but I think in Barcelona you have like 1.6 million people living there, but like 26 million people visit throughout the year. That's wild. I understand that if you live in Barcelona and you're trying to ride your bike, eventually you're like, get out of the way! And then if you live in Barcelona, you're tired of all these tours everywhere all the time, and you start freaking out. You might get a reputation for being a little bit rude to tourists, and then you'll be New York. But people are doing the best they can to protest. There's been all these different types. People get creative and stuff. There's one where they were shooting tourists with water guns throughout the day. Get out of here! Ah! Like when a dog tries to pee on the carpet. You know what I mean? Although as far as protests go, you can tell that these are like good people doing the protesting, because that's what you came with, water guns. For water gun. I don't know. I'm coming from the U.S. where it would have just been guns. Like this. You can tell these are people who have a deep moral core, because you used water guns to protest tourists during a heat wave. They probably didn't even understand what was happening. You know what I mean? They were probably over here like, oh, the Spanish are so hospitable. They saw how hot we were. And then some strangers we didn't even know were like, cooling us off. And I get the genuine frustration though, but this is the main problem, is that whether it's business or whether it's government, systems have a magnificent way of pitting us against each other. Like there are people that are local that are upset because obviously with all this tourism, Airbnbs are shooting up. Airbnbs raise the price of living in the area, so then people are getting priced out of their homes. They're getting priced out of the areas that they grew up in. They have to find somewhere else to live, all for people who don't live here, who are just coming to peak, and then they head home. And that can be incredibly frustrating, but that's the people who are coming to visit didn't come up with a master plan. Airbnb and the government that allows Airbnb to run rampant are the people to blame. You should be taking, like, if you're gonna take anger out on anybody, it should be the local government and the Airbnb that allows it to run rampant. You should be using the water guns on the computers at this. You know, because I think that that's the main way that systems get to stay intact. They see this, Airbnb sees it, and local government sees it, and they're like, well, we get to rake in money while the people that live here blame somebody else. Why would we ever change our practices? You know? And I don't really know what the exact fix is. You know, I remember when Airbnb was like at your house. There was a time early in Airbnb's history where you were just renting a room in someone's house, and so they lived there, and then they collected the money from you staying with them like a little mini hotel. But that was like easier because then they lived here, so they cared about the home, they cared about the community, and you got to get a taste of like local life. And you could even ask them, hey, is there anywhere I should go to eat? And they would tell you, this is where we're going to eat tonight. And sometimes you would actually have a meal with your host. And I thought that was a really beautiful thing. And then like private equity and more money got involved, and so it ruined it. Because now an Airbnb is also like sometimes worse than a hotel, because they'll let the person who owns the Airbnb set the rules. So now you have someone setting these insane rules for the Airbnb. Like, you can't just check out. You can't just take your trash, put outside, and leave. There are all these rules. Like, you have to make sure to wash the cabinets, wash all the dishes and everything, wipe everything down, you know, give our dog a bath. Also, you don't get charged a cleaning fee that you end up getting charged anyway, because in the small print, it was like, pick up our kid from school. And you didn't see that part. So now you're spending all this money on Airbnb to just go somewhere nice like Italy. And then you get to Italy and everyone's mad at you for visiting Italy, but you're also mad because you're like, the rules in this Airbnb say I have to buy this house before I leave.
Did y'all? Okay. I'm trying to figure out how I feel about it. I guess what I thought would happen happened, but you know, that whole Epstein list came out. I know, right? And it was pretty underwhelming. Like, they were like, dropping the list January 2nd, and then January 2nd came and they were like, sorry, January 3rd, and then they dropped the list, and everyone was like just mouth-watering on Twitter, everywhere. Everybody was like, Jesus, list is gonna shake up the world. You know, and everything's gonna change after this list comes out. And then the list came out, and a couple people we thought were on it. And then when I saw the rest of the list, I was like, oh, that's right, I don't know any rich people. My bad. I don't really move in the circles for this to be a scandal. Because any name on the list that wasn't already a celebrity, I have no idea who that is. It could be the head of a bank. I don't know. Whoops. It's very interesting. It is also, I guess, a bit weird because if you on that list, if your name just came out, it's kind of weird because you really can't die now. Like, you really got to hold it together for quite a while, or else if you die, they're gonna be like, he was a bigger part of it. It's like, oh, jeez. No, it's a weird list. It's a weird gathering of people. You know what I mean? And not everybody went to the island. I'm not taking up for anybody because, once again, I don't know them. But some of them, a part of me feels a little bit bad for, because they took a trip when the jet was going in the other direction. You know what I mean? Like, the jet goes to the island, but then the jet might go from New York to Philadelphia real quick, and then David Copperfield's like, I ain't got shit to do with this. What the motherfuckers asked me to come over and do some tricks. And then they dropped me off in Indianapolis. I had a show. No. It is weird, though. I think the thing that scares me most about the list and our response to it was that we thought the list would have everyone that we know on it. But what were we going to do about it? Do you know what I mean? Like, think about that really. Like, we thought all of these, like, celebrities would be on the list. It's like, all right, what were we going to... Like, was the plan to... Like, I don't know, unless we were going to kill him, what does it really matter? Do you know what I mean? We're just going to be like, oh, you. You know what I mean? Really think about it. It's like, if you know, whoever. Let's say Aaron Rodgers was on the list. We're going to not let him play? I don't know. This is, feels like we didn't really have a plan there. We just wanted to see it, kind of like the burn book for Mean Girls. And then we were going to just go about our day. Because it says a lot that we expected powerful people to be on the list. It kind of shows that we have no faith in them to begin with, right? So then, we might as well just treat them like they were on the list and get rid of them. Like, it just feels like... But Jeremy, I don't know why we needed a little bit more evidence that Lindsey Graham was shitty or something. I mean, like... I'm trying to be, like, a more, like, chill person. I think I get carried away sometimes. Like, I'll overthink things, and it gets me into this... I don't want to be a combative person. And I'm not combative outwardly, but in my head, I'll be like, what does that mean? Or I will overanalyze the situation to a point where I'm having a bad time, right? Like, it can't even be called a restaurant. I went to a fast food, like, chicken spot, and I ordered, and they gave me my food. And I truly cannot remember if I asked for napkins or not. But the cashier, he gave me too many napkins. All right? He gave me a concerning, offensive amount of napkins. He gave me so many he gave me napkins, it was making a statement in my head as he was going, because he put, one napkin is not enough. If you get a meal and they give you one napkin, they're like, fend for yourself, right? 2 napkins might be enough. Maybe you're going to wipe your hands, you're going to wipe something down, whatever. 3 napkins is a perfect amount. 4 or 5 starts to be excessive. He gave me a clutch of napkin. He gave me what I can only describe as an unhoused amount of napkins. He gave me napkins like it was going to be my blanket and my pillow tonight. He gave me... Because he used the full width of his big-ass hand to grab all these napkins and stuff them in the bag. There were so many napkins in the bag that if the bag had flipped, my food would have been safe, right? It was such a deeply offensive amount of napkins, because it just felt like he was saying, you can't take care of yourself. Like, he's like... it felt like he was saying, you're going to spill a lot. I can tell just by how you're standing that you spill. And I was talking to a friend about it. My friend was like, well, maybe, just maybe he recognized you and he was trying to give you the hookup. And I was like, okay, even if I'm trying to extend enough grace to not be offended and to think that my man likes my comedy, and so he's like, look, I don't have much, but what I got is these napkins. All right, so if you need anything, napkin-wise, I got you, all right? Napkin-wise, I stay ready, okay? I was like, nah, because he didn't, this is how I know he wasn't like a fan or something. he looked me dead in my eyes when he gave me all those napkins and he didn't smile. That was the most offensive. It's probably one of the most, it was a full middle finger using all his fingers. It was, the way that he was like, all right. Deeply distressed. Okay, did y'all, by any chance, see the dude who jumped the judge? Okay, this is so great. Okay, look, if you have not seen it, if you haven't seen it, it's very quick. If you have not seen it, I'll try my best to bring you up to. Okay, so basically, I didn't know everything was happening. I had to read about it after I saw it. But in the video, you see a judge and what I think is a stenographer. And I knew something bad was gonna happen because when the video starts, the stenographer in the corner already got his mouth open, right? And so the stenographer is looking ahead and going, and that is because, I don't know how big this man is, but there is a man already in the air flying towards the judge, okay? Now, I don't know because of the angle, I don't know if he got a running start and started flying, or if he just flew from the defendant's stand. Like, because you know that table they got the defendants at, right? From the angle, it just looks like he jumped from there over, and then no judge's bench is eye level, all right, ever, okay? Which means he didn't just jump across and clear that space, he went up. And it is so sad that our first black superhero is this guy. That's, then okay, so then he jumps over, he full Soldier Boy over the judge's bench, lands on her. Now, I knew he was gonna get her when I saw him in the air because she was getting out of the way too slow. Because I think even I think in her mind, even she was like, he gonna bust his head on this bench trying to jump up here to get me, because she was kind of cold with it, where she wasn't freaked out even though he was flying her, which makes me feel like this must have happened before. And most people don't make it. Like, most people don't clear it and then they bang their head on the bench, you know what I mean? Because for the bailiff to not, the bailiff is nowhere to be found. He clearly jumped over the bailiff, right? Because the bailiff was probably like the stenographer was over here like, God dang. And so then he jumps up and lands on her. She goes down. They're both like under the bench for a second. Then the bailiff gets over there, and then I guess the stenographer, I don't know what this person's position was, but he was in a suit and he seemed very scared. They both start trying to fight this dude. So now this dude is whooping everybody's ass. Like, it's actually quite, like, in my mind I was like, is he on drugs right now? Because how do you fight from the ground 3 people as you get up? You don't even see that in the UFC, right? And you'll never believe, okay, so she was denying his probation and she was about to sentence him, which is when he jumped over the bench and attacked her, right? And she was sentencing him. His case was battery with severe bodily harm. He did battery at the battery case. And I don't know what the other situation was. I have no idea. But she was about to sentence him. And I don't know how much time he was about to get. But it sounded like she was about to be like, I'm going to have to give you 8 years. And then this man was like, I'd like life, please. I'm sort of done with this outside world. Let me go ahead and stay forever. It's genuinely insane. I think that's the first person we've ever seen as a collective society that is going to get 10 million years. So like that's absolutely astounding. Yeah, I mean, if anything, I'm interested in what's going to happen next. I don't know if they'll let cameras in for it, but the judge said, "This is, I don't, okay, just this." The judge was like, "I want to see him on Monday. This Monday." She's like, "I want to see him on Monday by any means necessary." She used a full Malcolm X line. Because she was like, "I didn't get to finish my sentence." Oof.
All right, so I want you guys to get loud and proud for your headliner, Josh Johnson!
Sometimes you hear things that stick with you forever, right? Like one of the things that I heard in school was it was one Newton's laws. It's an equal but opposite reaction, right? And so it's like a law of physics, but it's also a law of people to a certain degree. Except we don't agree on what equal is. Do you know what I mean? Like if somebody does you dirty and then you want revenge, whenever you feel satisfied, your friends, your family might look at you like you crazy. Like you like, oh, you didn't have to do all that, right? You know what I mean? Your friends and family might even tell you, "Hey, stop, you got him. You got him, I swear you got him," right? And you're like, "No, it's not enough." Like, because you locked in, right? You locked into revenge. Maybe, look, also because of how the world works and because of how we're all entering and exiting each other's lives, sometimes you make somebody pay for the sins of other people. Sometimes they did you dirty, but they didn't do all of it. That's not their whole fault. Like you clearly let out some demons on somebody else. You especially know you're doing it if you accidentally call them the wrong name. You know what I mean? You know, like you it's your last day at work, you quitting. You quitting this job and they ain't done you dirty too many times and you're sick of it, right? And then at the last second when you cursing your boss out and you telling him where he can shove it and you can tell him how he treated you and how he no longer has any power over you and you can tell him to go right to hell and then you accidentally say, "Dad." And then both y'all have to sit with that for a second, like. Now the exit interview is awkward, right? Because you were on a roll. You had that whole speech prepared. That dad thing came out of nowhere, right? It was okay. There was this one time when I was living in Chicago that I was near Wrigleyville. And Wrigleyville, if you don't know, that's where the Cubs play. And it's like the ratchet bar broy type part of Chicago, right? So there's a lot of fights for no reason. There's a lot of like catcalling. There's just so much chaos happening, and it's all stuff that is like not. It doesn't faze you as much when you're like in your early 20s, right? You're just like, oh, I'm out where the party is. And I think if you go back there at like 30, you'll be like, ooh. Everyone here should call their mom. Everybody here. You know? But while I was out there, there was this guy that was walking and he was drunk. He had that like... I've never seen anybody walk like this. Like he really was walking like his feet couldn't find the ground. And it was... It's always gonna be there. It's always every time. But he was like, ah. And I couldn't believe he wasn't falling. He was staying upright and everything. And this guy was passing. And this guy was passing with his girlfriend. And the drunk guy, as they pass him, he clocks the girlfriend, and he just casually, like, spins on a heel and slaps her ass, right? Yeah, so she notices. She very much notices, and it's crazy. Almost all this could have been prevented because he's so off his balance that he almost missed, right? He almost had a very different night. And so basically he slaps her ass, and then she turns around, and then her boyfriend turns around. Now, he has not withdrawn his hand fast enough for the boyfriend to not know what just happened, right? So then he turns around, and this guy is like, the drunk guy is bigger than the guy whose girlfriend just got her ass slapped. So even though that dude goes like toe to toe with him in the next moment, I was still worried about the little guy because the little guy was little, right? And even in his drunken state, he's still like aware enough to know he was big enough to be an asshole, right? Because instead of apologizing or anything like that, he's like, "What you gonna do, little man? What you gonna do?" Right? And he didn't say it like that. He was like, "What's he gonna do, little man? What you gonna do, little man? What you gonna do, man? Huh? Ain't nobody. What you gonna do, little man?" And little dude wasn't little for long. Because he popped that dude square in the mouth. And then big dude finally found the ground, right? And I had never seen this before in real life, but little dude didn't just fight him. He started doing actual wrestling moves on the street, right? This man, girlfriend been stepped out of the way, and this man goes... This man went like, this dude was going off, right? And it got to the point where even as a bystander, I was like, I think you got him. I think you got him. Because the big dude is not getting up at a certain point. He tried to get up the first time, and him trying to get up was hilarious because, okay, so let me see if I can do it. So he over here like this, right? So he on the ground. And then he tries to like, because he's so drunk, he doesn't know he on the ground, so he tries to walk up. This man tried to walk up while he was getting hit. He was getting hit in his face, and he was like, what is stopping me? It's crazy. What's happening? And then he really tries to like walk up, and then he finds the ground with his hand, and then he goes, "You gonna stop hitting me in my damn face?" And then when he said that, the dude uppercut him, and he went flat back down, right? And then the beating did turn a little bit too much into dancing, right? Like then the beating, because then he started to do stuff that was not even wrestling moves anymore. He was just like, pow! To the point where even his girl was like, "Hey, you got him." But you could tell, you could see it on his face that something deeper was bothering him than just this moment, right? Because if you're not, and I'm speaking on the behalf of men who are not big, right? If you are not a big man, you've probably been punked a couple times in your life, right? Or at least someone tried to punk you because they didn't know they shouldn't try you, right? And so then that stuff starts to well up, and then out of nowhere you finally have a righteous opportunity to exercise all of that anger, so then you let loose. And when you don't stop, people are like, damn. And I said that because that's the best way I can illustrate what happened between Kendrick and Drake. Because Drake makes his little like club beats and he does his little, and he's a good rapper. Don't get me wrong, he's a good rapper, but he makes his little like get drunk to this type songs, dance and everything. And then he was calling out Whitney, Kendrick's wife, because that's what he likes to do. He likes to attack rappers by their wife. If you look through his catalog, he does it every time. And then Kendrick said, okay. I promise you, nothing but sweet chin music. I'm ready. Right? Because I think in order to understand, I really don't think people get it. In order to understand how important and powerful that pop-out concert was, you have to understand Nipsey Hussle. Okay? Nipsey Hussle was a rapper that a lot of people, at least as many people as I think should know, don't know. But what is one of the most important things about Nipsey Hussle, and what he would probably want you to know about him and remember about him, besides the fact that he was a phenomenal artist, is that he spent his time, his money, his attention, and all of his intention in improving the lives of the people that grew up around him, improving his community. Okay? This dude would pay for shoes for kids in elementary school that didn't have them. He would get repaved basketball courts that were in disarray, right? He would pay and help raise funds for funerals of victims and their families of gun violence, right? And this is all in his neighborhood. So the same way that people come up, he tried to bring everybody with him. That was his mission. He made it his mission because, yes, he was a great artist and he was getting on and everything, but you just getting out is not enough, right? Sometimes people make it out and then people don't, how do I put this? It's not enough if you just make it out. You want to bring people with you. Imagine you're in a burning building and so is your whole family. What credit is it to you? What does it really say about you if just you make it out? It means you ran out and you left everybody else. And Nipsey was like, I will die in a burning building if it means I get as many people out as possible, right? You know? Because it's very easy. It's one of the easiest things to do because all of your experience is relative to you, right? So you actually, as much as we may look down on it, you can't always fault someone who forgets where they came from. Especially if you came from a bad place. Sometimes you try to forget where you came from. You know? I used to think about that. I was like, damn, if I get rich enough, I won't be able to find this place on Google Maps. You know? But I mean it. It's like that's an amazing thing. And the other amazing thing, and I don't want this to come off the wrong way, but Nipsey did so much good. He did so many impactful things. He started so many programs and he taught how to give back and he taught people while he was still alive. It's like I want to instruct Black Americans on how to build franchises for themselves, right? So that when we make the money, we'll know what to do with the money, right? And he did all this with what I would consider very little money. Because yes, he was a big artist, and yes, he was a millionaire. But when he passed, when he was murdered, his net worth was about $8 million. And I think that people don't recognize how low that is in the grand scheme of how rich some of these artists are. We have artists that are billionaires, right? We have artists that are on track to be billionaires. And they don't do what he did with so much, with literally a fraction of what they had, right? And so I think it's important, in order to understand that pop-out concert, it's important to understand Nipsey and what he stood for and what he was trying to do. It's also important to at least understand the image and the legacy of Kobe. Because Kobe was also this integral part of LA, integral part of sport, right? And no matter what you think about the man himself, what he did in basketball, the passion that he had, his obsession with his passion is exactly what he wanted to impart on people for whatever it is that they do. Whatever it is you do. It doesn't have to be entertainment. It doesn't have to be a sport. It could just be the passion you have for being a father, right? If your obsession is being the best at whatever your passion is, you will make an impact, right? It's why to this day, and when I was little, if I have a ball of paper and a trash can is far enough away, Kobe. And if I make it, I lose my mind. You know? And so it's also important, no matter what you think of the man himself, Kendrick is someone that both of these individuals showed love to. And he's someone that has an obsession for his passion, which is music. And he's also someone that through his music, and at least in the intention of how he speaks in every interview and in everything that I've read about him, wants to give the same way that Nipsey gave, right? And sort of be a beacon for those same principles. So then, we have something like the Pop-Out concert, which is on Juneteenth, which is a liberation day for black people, right? And then they all come together. And when I say they, I mean every section, every known and probably unknown section of LA's gang members were in one place at the same time. That's crazy. They were all there. And everyone made it about the beef, and he played the diss tracks. Of course they do. But it was bigger than that. There was a 4-hour concert with artists from all over LA, all over West Coast, putting on, making their amazing music shown to the world. And there was even a little detail, like, I haven't verified this thing, but I heard about it, and I know of someone that, at least I think it happened to, where the concert tickets sold so fast that I guess they were checking zip codes. And if you didn't live in or around LA or the West Coast, they were refunding people so that people in LA could go to the concert, right? You know? Because the thing that Kendrick gives, at least to me, the thing that Nipsey gave, at least to me, and the thing that Kobe gives to a certain degree is an appreciation and a strengthening of community. Community is very important. And just because you're not a member of a particular community doesn't mean you can't help, doesn't mean you can't feel a part of it. But if you're in a community, it's important to give back. I think that's the thing I'm trying to establish, right? Is that if you're a part of a community, it's important to give back, right? Which is why, outside of any colorism, outside of any part of the beef, the thing that bothered people, and the thing that I think gets missed because people want to be fans in whole of a person and their work, and it's just not possible. You know what I mean? It's not. You don't actually know the person, so maybe they made a good thing, and maybe you like it, and that can be enough, right? So this isn't to discredit the entirety of someone making work and then also having to back up that work with being an angel. But I think what bothers people is that community is sometimes equal to culture. So if you're not a member of a community and you take from the community, let's say you're a business that moves in and all you do is sit there and let the people spend money, and then you send that money away from the people who spent the money that you put that. What place do you have here? We're trying to build something, we're trying to build up. And you're just taking, right? And I understand business is business, but you're just taking. And I think that's what bothers a lot of artists about Drake. It's not that he's light skinned, whatever. It's literally, I promise you, it's the fact that you're not actually trying to be or in the community, but you take, and what do you give? You're a billionaire unto yourself. Who else did you get out the house? Preach. Because Nipsey did so much, and he did it, and he left with a net worth of $8 million. How many hundreds of millions? How many hundreds of millions does Drake have? And I'm not telling anybody how to spend their money. I'm just saying that when we look at who's doing what and when they're doing it, you got a lot left. So when you have a concert like that, right? When you have a concert that's a day of liberation and you've grabbed all of these different sections out of LA. Like, you gotta understand what it is for some of these people to be in the same room. By any other metric of any other time, they would be in the streets killing each other. And now they're all inside in one place right now, right? So I think that's what got so many people so emotional about that moment when they were all on stage together dancing together, dancing the way. And I understand that there are lots of black people who don't have the take that I have about it, that think that any mention or any semblance of gang culture shouldn't be equated to any part of blackness. And I understand that, but I'm saying we are where we are, right? Those are black people. And yes, they've been in situations and they've been in conditions where they are gang members. But if you have a day like the pop-out concert, and you have another day like the pop-out concert, you have another day like the pop-out concert, all of a sudden, all this stuff, it just disintegrates. Do you know what I mean? It's all about a future, right? You had more gang members than we do not know how many gang members were on that stage. But they were all dancing together. And sure, it was to call Drake a pedophile. I understand that. I understand. But they had to dance to something, right? And so it was actually fascinating to watch because there were clearly a lot of people on that stage that did not want to be on the camera. They didn't want to, you know what I mean? They didn't want to be on the Amazon. Because even if I think one of the reasons people are having trouble finding the words to describe what an impactful and beautiful moment it was is because to tell the whole of it is not only hard to do, it does feel a little like snitching. You know what I mean? Like if you're like, he was there and he was there and he was there. Now all of a sudden the LAPD is like, tell me more. You know? And so maybe for the good of unity, the good of the community, maybe even the good of the culture, maybe Drake should try one more time. Maybe he should.
Mira.